So anyway, Bludgeon found out about OR-13 by 1984 Earth time, which he used to bring Thunderwing back online. So obviously he knew about this well before Thunderwing came back online in present day. But then they talk about how Bludgeon knew about the seeding of worlds, and he discovered experiments that might lead him to the next stage of evolution for Transformers. No, he did not. These experiments the experiments Bludgeon was doing, those weren't Shockwave's experiments. Those were frickin' Thunderwing's experiments. Bludgeon knew about Thunderwing's experiments already because of the fact that Thunderwing destroyed the planet. He was basically just trying to duplicate what Thunderwing did. And they're talking about, Bludgeon was reborn, except for the fact that then Bludgeon had a mental breakdown, which he evidently took him at least a year to recover from, given that he was still dead when he was in Garrus 9 as far as his brain activity went. And then he only came back online during the Perceptor part of Megatron Coda. All hail Megatron Coda. So then they say the battle with Thunderwing raged to a nearby planet, Nebulos. Yeah, this is accurate. There, Optimus Prime and his Autobots made their final stand. No. The Autobots were never on Nebulos, save for Magnus several years back. The Decepticons fought Thunderwing on Nebulos. Most of them got killed, and then Thunderwing went back to Cybertron, where Prime and the Wreckers made their stand against him, as well with some Decepticon help, but that's incidental. But yes, they say they managed to defeat him in a blaze of glory. Following his defeat, Prime's team followed Bludgeon's trail, and while ransacking Shockwave's files, Bludgeon unintentionally alerted the Autobots to Project Regenesis. Nah, not quite. They found out about Regenesis because of the fact that Bludgeon was looking through Shockwave's files. They found out about this because after they captured Bludgeon, they started poking through Shockwave's files themselves and found out about Regenesis. But yeah, they found out about Earth, and what really made Prime wanting to go to Earth, it wasn't because of a gamble. It was because they knew that there was stuff on Earth, and they also got a message from Ironhide saying, there's stuff going on Earth. The Decepticons are ahead of schedule here. It's unusual. And now we're on to the stuff I haven't actually read before. So, it's talking about how before Prime got there, Autobots led by Prowl led to watch and protect Earth. They knew the cons were on the planet. That's true. The two young Verity... Wow. Two young humans... They got Verity's last name wrong here. They call her Verity Carter when her last name is Carlo. I remember this pretty clearly. So anyway, Verity, Carlo, and Hunter O'Neill were quickly sucked into a conflict they possibly couldn't understand. And yeah, they were rescued by the Autobots. So they offered their own services. They climbed down the very dark hole, found Megatron on Earth. And where Megatron is, so is Starscream. I can kind of buy this. They mentioned that there's a coup attempt by Starscream to wrest control away. Starscream gave it his credit, but it was not enough. And honestly, I'm very disappointed here because they used this panel here from Infiltration 6 with Starscream blasting away at Megatron. But what they should have used is that iconic panel with Megatron just absolutely blowing a hole through Starscream. Because that's like the best shot in the entire book, aside from Optimus Prime's intro. But then they say that it not only failed to overthrow Megatron, but alerted Prime to Megatron's whereabouts. Again, not quite accurate, because Prime was already coming to Earth anyway by the time they found out about Megatron being there. And so Earth's now the Autobots' new home, and Megatron's interest in the planet. They knew why Megatron was interested in Earth at that point. It was because Starscream had led a coup, and there was OR-13. Megatron had no personal interest in Earth, save for the actual reason that Starscream defected and led his own group. So then Megatron's plans to conquer Earth was out in the open, so Megatron saw no reason to remain hidden. Not quite, because the Autobots know exactly how the Decepticons work at this phase in the war. All that they know is that Megatron's now there, they knew there were Decepticons there, and they knew the grand scheme, but they didn't know anything about... but Megatron accelerated the plan because he decided, there's OR-13 here on Earth, we need to accelerate our plan because we've got something here that we actually want and that can turn the tide in the war. Plus Prime's here. So yeah, Ironhide and Sunstreaker tasked with keeping tabs on Verity and Hunter. Not quite. They were assigned to return them home because the Autobots didn't want any human casualties. But then they were caught by human strike force, seemingly murdered. Ironhide and Verity slipped away. Then these same humans put down Wheeljack and Jazz. That's true. Wait, what? I'm sorry. They said that Wheeljack and Jazz were working for Skywatch. Again, I'm going to apologize for fanboyishness here, because realistically, when I was going to be reading through this is what you're going to be getting. But Skywatch did not attack them. It was the Machination that attacked them. Two completely separate factions of the humans. And one of them is even led by a Transformer. So this is completely wrong. And Skywatch's true purpose began to come into focus as operatives of the clandestine organization put Hunter 09 in a surgery. No! Machination, not Skywatch! Two completely separate organizations here! I'm sorry, I'm just venting here right now. So, again, excuse the fanboyishness and continuity thing, but this is a completely massive retcon right here. Massive. So then they talk about how Optimus Prime and his Autobots tracked Megatron to Russia. It was a made-up Soviet state, not Russia, but close enough anyway, to be honest. I can accept that. They engaged Megatron. Megatron beat the crap out of Optimus. Again, they ignore the fact that there's OR-13 on Earth, and the reason Megatron beat the crap out of Prime was because he was juiced up on steroids. And the Autobots believed Sunstreaker and Hunter were dead. That's not true either, because they knew that they weren't dead right after they got the body back. They knew that they'd been captured, but they didn't know who captured them. And... good lord! I just flipped ahead. They completely left out Ironhide getting slagged by the Machination's fail-safes in Escalation. They completely left out the fact that he already almost died once, just because of the fact that, I imagine it's completely because of the fact that in the ongoing, in the preview pages, this isn't really a spoiler, but it's a light spoiler, but in the preview pages, you see Ironhide get killed, and yes, Ironhide gets killed, but they probably didn't put that bit in here because he already almost dies back in Escalation, and you think he's dead when you read that there and find out that he's not dead. So yes, they just did a glaring omission right here. And they downplayed the humans as well, which I don't like either. Anyway, on Earth, Skywatch made... wait, they cut one of the humans out of this entirely. Where's Jimmy Pink? They completely cut out one of the humans who shows up in this book. They completely retcon him out of existence. Anyway, so on Earth, Skywatch revealed discoveries made by analyzing Grimlock, which, yeah, that's true. Recent activity from Skywatch had weakened his prison. No, not quite. That's not quite. The Decepticon scientist Scorponok had united with Skywatch and become a headmaster? No! No. Scorponok was running the Machination, the guys who captured Sunstreaker, and then they began playing Skywatch for themselves because they had moles in Skywatch and knew what Skywatch was doing. So then they triggered Grimlock's release. So anyway, combined force of Scorponok more than a match with Grimlock. Revenge on Shockwave must wait. But Grimlock wasn't after revenge on Shockwave because he already got his revenge on Shockwave. He already fragged Shockwave. He wasn't going after him. He had no clue where he was and what he was up to. And then he went after, wanted to go after, Scorponok offered that whole alliance thing. And then Grimlock went off. He was more interested in getting the other Dinobots back at that point and figuring out where he was and where his ship was and stuff like that. But then, let's see, back on Garrus 9, horrific events had led to the revitalization of RC. Yeah, that's kind of accurate, except just flipping around. Did they omit the events? It looks like they've glossed over Spotlight Optimus Prime, which is kind of fair enough. Only it completely looks like they've cut out the mentions of Monstructor being the first combiner in here, and that whole little backstory as well. So they've omitted the events from the Spotlight Monstructor, and they've just glossed it all over to say that, yeah, RC's out there, and that she went out to pursue her foe.